Hello, hello. Well, tonight is going to be fun. I have invited Chris to coach on IG Live, and he's agreed. So Chris has quite a story, so we have to talk about it a little bit and stuff like that. Hi, Rosie. I'm going to get Chris to come in. So let's see if we can get him in. Let's put that lovely glasses on to do this. Send a request to him. So, guys, it's going to be fun. Hello, Chris. Here you are. How are you this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
I am absolutely wonderful. I'm having a lot of fun with you today. So I'm just
Oh yeah.
I invited everybody I could think of to come. So I hope you have some nice followers here to give us some input on what I don't know about you. So for those of you who don't know Chris, I've known Chris for a long time. I've coached Chris many times, many times. And now Chris has blossomed into this amazing man. He's very close to this, almost the same age as my son. And they knew each other when they were children. So it looks like everybody Michael knows, I end up coaching them in some form or the other. So Chris, the thing about Chris that not too many people know, Chris is completely bilingual in French.
Oui, c'est vrai.
Tessa. And he speaks French fluently. He works in an environment where he speaks French, and that is awesome for him. So in Canada, you get extra money when you speak French in some companies. And I'm sure Chris knows that, and he's pushed for it. So besides the regular salary, if you have French as an asset, you get another 20,000 or so, right?
I wish. If it was 20,000, I wouldn't be on this live with you. I'll tell you that much.
So here we are. So besides all of these wonderful things about Chris is a very soft-hearted human being.
Oh God, we're gonna go there right away.
For sure. We will not talk about it, but I know that for sure.
I need some more water tonight.
It's not embarrassing. I'm coaching him, and when I coach, sometimes people cry. And it's not my fault because I'm really tough. So Chris didn't cry. Oh, he almost cried. No. So what I know is that Chris is very determined. And he grew up in Guildwood, and he got his car and he moved out and he became a man and making all kinds of waves in his life. So the most recent one Chris did, and that is what I would like you guys to hear about. In Chris and his friend, he has nicknames for them. I can't remember if it was Beefy and another mask.
Yeah, it's funny you say Beefy because Beefy just joined the chat. He just joined. Yeah, Beefy's one of them. So
what happened is one of his friends bought a bike during COVID.
Beefy
bought the bike during COVID, and Beefy called him to show him his bike. And during the COVID time last year in the spring and May, all Chris did was to play his game console constantly. So now when Beefy introduced him to the bike, he saw how beautiful the bike was. Another friend came aboard. And to be honest with you, there were no bikes in the city of Toronto to be held. You couldn't find one. So he went to a place way outside of the city to Hamilton. And then Chris had to go to Paris. And if you're Canadian, that you know how far in Ontario this is.
Yeah.
To get his bike. And they got their bike and they started riding around. And then Chris really got into it, typical Chris fashion. And he went and he formed a cycling club. And it's called about Dem something?
The Madam.
The Madam. It doesn't mean that it's only for men. It's neutral. So everybody can join. So this thing exploded. And people started coming. And because of COVID, people were having to go all over the province to get bicycles to join this group. And then you were featured on is it Global?
I was CBC News, CP24. So honestly, to be honest with you, like I still can't believe that all that happened, and it's like almost like uncomfortable for me to like relive it and be like, oh, I was here, I was on this, I was on like, because it's it's
Yes, you were
such a foreign concept for me to like brag about myself, you know.
But it's not bragging. You started something that helped others. It was out of the goodness of your heart when you realized what you were
yeah,
benefiting. And in Toronto, in the summer, they closed some of the major highways, the downtown highways, and for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you could ride your bike on these highways, and everybody was having that opportunity to do that.
mm-hmm.
And Chris's Bicycle Club is like you don't have a uniform. And one of the things that really is important is that in Toronto, we don't have a black cycling club. And Chris created one, although all kinds of people are in it from what I can see.
Yeah.
And they don't have expensive bikes. They don't have fancy jerseys. It's just come as you are. In other words, if you were in the Caribbean, you would say just put your sneakers and come inside. So you have your helmet, and they have safety standards, and they have been doing that. But this thing blossomed, and it exploded.
Yeah.
It started being on all these TV stations and all these newspapers. I read something in the Toronto Star about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of things happened. So now Chris has turned this thing into a business. He's an entrepreneur now. So tonight we're doing
even just saying that sounds so weird, you know?
Well, the thing about that, the people and movement makers are all entrepreneurs. They're all trying to, and they're young. They're like you, and they're younger, and they're a little bit older than you. Mm-hmm. I joined in because there was something to do, and there I am. So the thing about Chris with that group is that it is so amazing that he found himself to the point where he's actually running the group. He took, and opened a business and setting it up. So we had some counseling not too long ago. So Chris is now going to tell us a little bit about what he's doing. So I wanted everybody to know what's going on with Chris. So give me some feedback.
Well, after our last conversation, so just to put in context, right? Around the time that you and I, when we had that 2-hour phone call that day.
What do you call it? Phone call?
It was a 2-hour phone call. I screenshot it for proof. But yeah, around that time, like I was really aware of like what was happening. Like last year was so surreal, you know? Like when I think about it, when I go back and look at the Instagram or like look at like the articles and stuff like that, like it still feels like a dream, you know? But then it wasn't until maybe, mid-January or so where like I realized, like, not to say that there's like expectations of me, but there are expectations of me to a degree because the people want it and I can't just walk away from it.
Because you were born to serve. You came into this world to serve others. That's
why. And so my habits prior to 2 weeks ago was just, even prior to the cycling club, was just wake up, go to work, consume what I consume, go home, go to sleep, repeat. Like I never had anything outside. Like I would go to the gym or I'd play basketball. When I was in a relationship, I'd go on dates and stuff. But like, aside from that, like I've just been going to work and going home. I never had like, something I had to nurture or something I had to like legitimately put like my energy into it, So when the bike thing happened last summer, again, like and everybody knows, like I started this for me and like my friends, like that's it. Like I had no intention of the media coverage, no intention of like, the hundreds of people that came out to ride with me and like the endorsements and the partnerships and like none of that was on the agenda. It was just like I just want to ride my bike with my boys because I'm getting fat and and like I was getting lazy and like there's nothing to do and like we're all struggling, So at the end of the day, now that fast forward to now, and it's like, okay, boom, I have this beautiful thing, that I've never had, and I've always told myself like I wish I had like a side hustle or something to do aside from go to work. And like I didn't want to be a rapper, I didn't want to sell soap or do any of these other random things that people do. I just didn't know what it was. So the fact that I bought a bike just to ride with my boys, and now I have this thing that I've been looking for like 15, 20 years. It's kind of crazy. So like I had to change my habits because I was literally like my sleeping patterns were horrible and I was eating horribly, and now it's like I have to change if I'm gonna actually even like appear to be successful at doing this thing, like which I'm not very well versed at. Like I have to change like my day-to-day stuff. So like when you and I spoke that day and you were talking about like I think you said like when you wake up in the morning, like you do like affirmations to yourself or something like that. I don't remember exactly what
Yes,
your
I do.
affirmations were, but like so I'm not at that level yet where like I can look in the mirror and be like, Chris, you're the man, you're the boss. You can have whatever. Like I'm not at that level, but what I can say is that when I wake up in the morning and like before I even get out of bed, if I plant like intent in my mind about like what I want to do or what I need to achieve that day, like it gets done. And it doesn't feel like a burden. Like it just gets done. Like I don't look at I don't look at it as like this big puzzle of all these things I have to accomplish. It's more like you need to do XYZ today. You know, and it always gets done. So like when I affirm myself, not like with compliments, but like with like directions. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. That is good because affirmation comes both ways. We talked about it. An
Yeah.
affirmation is I am not good enough, I'm fat, I'm lazy, I'm sitting around, I'm not doing that. That is an affirmation. And that is the results you get if you keep saying it. But
Yeah.
what we did was turn your affirmations around. I mean, I have these ladies that I do the morning blessings with, and nowadays they're all talking about the hi. So we started going, hello, here you are,
Mm-hmm.
in the mirror. I know it's becoming a fun thing to do. So
Yeah.
go ahead. So affirmations is what you believe, what you think. And as you said, you started this thing for yourself and a few of your friends, and you had hundreds of people riding with you.
Yeah.
That would blow anybody's mind, especially when you did not start to serve at that level. You started to serve at a small level, and it blew up because it was required, and you needed to be in that position.
Right.
So you have to embrace it, but you have to put time and effort into it to let it bloom. So continue.
Yeah. So even what you're saying about like it being such a like a shift, you know, like I actually tried to sabotage it like around the third or fourth weekend because it was just the growth was just too exponential for me. I just again like it wasn't my intention, right? So when it went from me and 7 of my friends, and then it was the next week was 15 people, and then the next week was like 35 people, right? And again, about half of them are people that I knew, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then there was a lot of people that I didn't know, and a lot of people that were like friends of friends. So
Mm-hmm.
they were connected to me, and like I didn't even really understand like the reach of like my circle of influence. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when it got that big, it scared the shit out of me. So what I did was the following weekend, I tried to sabotage it by so up to that point, right? I had one ride every weekend, either Saturday or Sunday. I had one ride every weekend for the first 3 weeks, right? The fourth weekend, because I was so intimidated by what happened the weekend prior, I separated it and I had 2 rides in one weekend, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. And the one on Saturday, I intentionally had it like super early, like 8 in the morning, right? So I'm thinking like, if I have Saturday morning at 8, there's no way people are gonna show up. And if people do show up, it's not going to be as much, right? So I tried to put a monkey wrench in the plans just because I was scared, and then lo and behold, like 20 something people showed up on Saturday morning at 8, right? And then the next day at 10, I had like 40. So that's when I was like, okay, honestly, like there's nothing I can do. Like unless I'm gonna completely shut it down, and like walk away from it, there's nothing I can do to like slow it down. And like it got to the point where like even like during the week, like from Monday to Friday, when people saw what happened on Sunday, like all week I'm responding to messages. When's the next ride? Where are you going? Oh, can I bring my friend? Is it okay if I bring my mom? Is it like, so there's so much interest. So it's either I just went with the flow or I completely just shut it down. And I went with the flow, and then I ended up on friggin' TV and in the magazine and all kind of places where I didn't even really feel like I belonged there. You know what I'm saying?
You won Cycling Canada. That is a huge
Like
platform.
when Canadian Cycling Magazine reaches out to me, I'm like, this is not serious. Like something's wrong here. You know what I'm saying? But
when the arrow of God is pointed on you, Chris, you cannot do anything about it. When it's time for you to find your destiny, you have no other way to follow it. Because when the plan is formed and your destiny awaits you, you have to take it. It's not easy, but you must grab it because God has decided this is his plan for you.
Yeah. So that being said, like summer's done. It's the off season now, and it's like I owe it to the people now. You know what I'm saying? It's like I already gave them like as much as I could give. Like I gave a lot of my time and my energy. Like again, it was from a good place. It wasn't to be a superstar or to be popular, and like I don't really care about that stuff. But now it's like there's people that were there last summer that experienced it, and I've literally like told me, yo, like your rides have helped me with my depression. Like
wow.
Oh, I'm going through a divorce and you don't have any idea how much your rides have helped me like take my mind off things. Like these are like actual like conversations that I had, you know? So like as much as I dumb it down and try to make it be like, oh, like it's just a bike ride, like it's not a big deal, to everybody else, like to a lot of people for that matter, it was a pretty big deal what I was doing, you know? So now that I know they want it, and it's like even like the black thing, like when you mentioned like a black cycling club, right? Like I didn't scan the city and see what the other clubs were, who was running it, what the demographics were. Like I wasn't looking at any of that stuff. Like
yeah.
Right? So but then it just so happened to be that organically, like I end up being the black cycling guy in the city, you know, and it's like I didn't, again, it wasn't planned, you know, like it just so happened to be. But then even on that journey, I met like beyond my friend Beefy who bought the bike, like I've met like a lot of other like black cyclists in the city that like seriously ride, like not like me, like, oh, I just want to go, like guys that ride for real, like we're doing serious distance, serious performance, and they were out there, and I had no idea that that community existed. And even beyond that, like a lot of people in general that had bikes and just rode with their kids or rode with their friends or even just rode by themselves, apparently I end up giving them like a home or a place where they can show up and be around like-minded people. Like I didn't expect it to turn into that, right? So now it's like I have this responsibility now where it's like if I walk away from this, right, I'm a very selfish person.
But not only that, you're walking away from your destiny, your future. You don't know where this is going. You have
no idea. I don't.
When you start serving, you have no idea where it can take you.
Yeah. And I think that's been the hardest part because again, I've always just been go to work, go home, you know, pay my bills and just be appreciative of what opportunities come my way, you know? So to have something like this, like grow up so crazy and now it's like it not only did it turn into like, okay, you have a cycling club, cool, but now I go from a guy who was just content and satisfied with, you know, making my 60, 70,000 a year and surviving to now being this guy that like I have a business and like I'm a budding entrepreneur and there's like so many branches that can like develop from this thing, right? Mm-hmm. So just being like cognizant of that and then, you know, navigating it and like making mistakes and learning and like using the people around me and like it's been a lot. It's been a lot. Like I literally like I just told my boy Darky the other, like yesterday, I was like, I feel lost. Like I told him straight up, like I feel lost. Like I don't really understand what's happening. And there's days where I wake up and like I get all these emails. Oh, we want you to come speak here. Oh,
But
this vendor.
you have to embrace it.
Yeah,
Because you started this thing to help yourself, but you served your friends, your two friends. And you went from there and it grew to like writing it 300-400 people. That is wild. To
yeah,
be on CP24, to have all these stations calling you, to have Cycling Canada calling you. I mean,
yeah.
so you have to, when we spoke in January, I told you, you have to work. I'm not recommending you work. You have to plan for the summer, and you cannot start in June to plan for June. You
Right.
need to start in January. You
Mm-hmm.
have to register this business.
I did that. Yeah.
The point. So tell me what you did from there.
From our conversation?
Yeah.
So I registered the business.
Mm-hmm.
My boy Darky, who did my logo and designed like the shirt and stuff that we had last year. So that's one of the things that I didn't do. So last year there was such a high demand because I got some shirts from Lululemon.
Mm-hmm.
And they put my logo and stuff on a Lululemon shirt. It's probably the best shirt I have, right?
Oh yes, Lululemon is fabulous.
Not a joke. It's quality stuff.
They're expensive.
Yeah. So I buy a bike, and like within 2-3 months, I have a Lululemon shirt with my club logo on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I gave those away for free, and then I also made some towels that I also gave away for free, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a crazy demand though. Like
people, show me the money. Show me the money.
But yeah, like, and this is the thing. I could have easily went and bought a bunch of bulk like white T-shirts and just put the logo on it to make money, and I would have made a couple thousand last summer easily.
Mm-hmm.
But it just didn't feel right, like to sell anything because like we're in the beginning of the pandemic. Like I know people that like lost their job, that weren't working, were on limited hour, reduced salary. And then I started this organic thing that everybody was gravitating towards. It just didn't feel right for me to go and try to like monetize off it. You know what I'm saying?
But there comes a time when you have to get paid for what you're good at.
Oh, I respect that. It's just that last summer.
Well, I understand that you did the free thing. No,
last summer I didn't look at myself in that light. I didn't look at the club in that light. It just didn't make sense for me to rush and like try to like take advantage of the circumstances.
That's good.
To make a couple $1,000. So that it just didn't sit well with me. So instead, I spent $600 and I gave a bunch of towels away, and that people really like appreciated and loved that. So that plus my time, like I gave all that. So now, where things have winded down and like there's still a high demand, people are like, hey, what can I do to get a shirt? Are you making more towels? Are you making this? So now it's like, okay, like there's a significant demand for that. So my friend and I started, well, since last year, but we're getting a bit more aggressive now. Like we're designing stuff. So we're making shirts, we're making stickers, we're making towels. I'm getting contacts for different vendors, and I'm using the internet and shit to like figure out like who can do the work and the jobs that I want to get done, right? So that's what I'm doing planning wise from the club. So like again, I did what you said and I registered the business, because even that was even another thing where like I was like hesitant to do, and I felt that made it like really real. Like if I registered it as a business, like it solidified it to a certain degree. So I was very hesitant to do that, and I could have done that from last summer. It's only $60, right?
That's right. Yeah, it's not expensive.
Yeah, it's not. So after talking to you though, and then I realized, okay, like I need to legitimize what I'm doing. I'm not just going to sell stuff out the trunk of my car.
No.
So that's when, so I registered the business. My boy and I are planning a bunch of merchandise to sell. I already, before you and I spoke, I already registered like the website domain and stuff, and like that's all set up. And then I've been reading books. So like a couple weeks ago on my Instagram, I put up like some of the books that I was reading, and I asked people to give me suggestions.
Well, I have one for you. You should read that book, Born to Serve. It's on Amazon, and you will learn a lot.
Yeah, so that one I have written down. But then my friend Michelle, my friend MK, she recommended me a book called Atomic Habits.
Yeah.
You've heard of that?
Yes.
Yeah, so I've only like read like the first maybe 15, 20 pages of that book. And that book already has slowly started to like, not like reprogram how I go about my day, but also like I'm very cognizant and aware of the bad things that I'm doing that are having a negative impact on me, that I'm not really like really understanding how negative those things were. Right? And because I was just doing it out of habitually, like it was a bad habit that I had to do certain things. I won't go into detail what some of those bad habits were.
No, that's okay. We don't
Yeah,
have to go there.
but I had some not so healthy habits, right?
Mm-hmm.
So reading this book and realizing that it's not about just having good habits, but it's also recognizing what your bad habits are and how they're having a negative effect on you.
Mm-hmm.
And I like made some like minute tweaks to like my day and like my going to sleep at a certain time and like waking up and like before I touch my phone, like let me like relax and breathe in my bed or wash my face or do anything before I like touch my phone and get into that. Right. So that's some of the like noticeable like changes that I've done so far.
But you see, a book like that, there's books you're going to get, and you don't read a book once. A book that's going to change your life or change your habits, it becomes part of your reading. One
Yeah.
of the things I would want you to do with part of your coaching process is make sure every day you read from one of your books. I always have had forever 7 books because I read with maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes in one book in a day.
Yeah.
So you should have a commitment to self that I am going to, not you should have, I want you to have a commitment to self that you read from one of these books every day. You don't have to read the entire book. You don't skip a day from reading. And then you need to start journaling. You need to start writing some of your thoughts because you're just talking to you, although you're away from me, I can feel your energy.
Yeah.
And it is so intense. You need to take some of it out and put it on paper because your thoughts will push you to the point where you'll get confused, and you're not confused, but your mind will want to explode.
No, yeah.
So you need to write. You need to put your thoughts down, not in your phone. It doesn't work that way. You need to get a book. I don't care if you write it on the back of your, I don't care. Write it on something. You have to. And you must read from those books that give, the books that is giving you a charge, the books that you learn something from, that becomes a staple on your nightstand or on your table in your living room. You read from that book. And one of the things I always have taught is that when you're inclined to turn on the TV to watch somebody on TV, one thing you must remember, that person has already gotten paid to be on TV. So you have to do what you want to do so that you get paid. Mm-hmm. You cannot sit there in La La Land and with your mouth open and your brain in a feverish dream and watching this man or woman or person that is getting paid millions of dollars to talk to you. When you are not getting paid millions, they have already made their money. So you have to say to self, let's go what we must do so we can make our money too.
Yeah.
So these are the things I want you to, the next step is to realize February, before you blink, the summer will be there.
I know. That's been
I have to ask you a question about the business. How did you register the business? Is it a sole proprietorship? Because you kept talking about your friend. Is he on the business in any way, shape, or form?
No, it's a sole proprietorship. Because again, like my people around me, like this is one thing I'll say. The people around me know that this is mine, and like it's not up for debate. Like nobody. I mean, knock on wood at this point of the game, like nobody's legit like put their hand in and been like, yo, like I'm the da 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 da. You know, like everybody knows it's mine, but I have people around me of different disciplines that help me with different things. So my boy Darky, for example, he's before the club, like he's always been like my guy that I talk to about anything, right? So now we just talk about club stuff, and then he's a graphic designer. So anything art related, anything graphic wise, like he's like my contractor, I guess, so to speak. Like he's my, like, I'm paying him, but he's not like an actual employee of like the club. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then I have like my boy Beefy. He's like a business development guy, so he's more like working on the behind the scenes with me, like to maybe get some partnerships or do some other things, stuff like that. But it's a sole proprietorship. Yeah, it's mine.
Okay, that's good, because that is something that you have to keep like that. You also have to be aware that you're going to be copied. Somebody else is going to start a club, and you cannot be afraid of it. You cannot be afraid of them doing what you do. You have to believe and you have to have faith that there's room for all of us.
Yeah.
But what you have to do in that case, you need to step up. So if somebody's coming and copying or doing what you do, it has to be done. That is just part of life. So expect it. Don't be angry about it. But then you need to sit and think, how can I raise my standard? What can I do to make mine just better than theirs?
Yeah.
And so these are the things I want you to be aware of. Because somebody will, in that club, in that group, in the cycle group, might decide, I'm going to start my own group.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then some people might leave, and you have to understand that what you have to do is mind your own business. Don't spend time in being angry because they did that. So what you have to do is now sit and think, what can I do? What is the one thing I can do to make my club better? I have started here, I am here, I need to raise my standard up here. So these are the things I want you to remember from this coaching session.
These are things that I'm already somewhat aware of, and I've embraced, because as much as you know, I was the new kid on the block and it's a new cycling club or whatever, I knew that I wasn't the first cycling club in Toronto. Like, there's a lot of cycling clubs in the city that existed already. So I'm sure when I came on the scene that, you know, there might have been I might have ruffled some feathers. The people might have been like, yo, who is this guy or whatever. But at the same time, because I didn't start this to be a certain status or anything like that, right? So at the end of the day, if somebody else comes out with a bike club in June, I'm not gonna get mad at that.
No.
Number two, I know that the reason why Mandem blew up to the point it did, as much as it's the pandemic, as much as there's a bunch of other factors, I know a good 50, maybe 60% of all of that is because of me. Like, I'm like a cool person.
Well, you are.
Right? So that's like the only horn of mine I'll toot for the night. Like, I know I'm a cool person.
Yes, you are.
So, and I attract good people, right? I've had nothing but like good people come to me. I haven't had any negative energy come to me by way of the cycling club, right? So I'm aware of like what I contribute. So as much as somebody might start another club and they might want to do some of the things that I've been doing, like, that's fine, but I don't think they're as cool as me. And not only that, they're not as, like, whatever creative flair that I have and that my boy Darky has, like, they don't have that juice. Like, they don't, it's not the same. Like, we come from a certain place, you know, like growing up in Scarborough and like listening to certain music and being around certain cultures, like, has molded us into like the men we are, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not cut from our cloth, like, you're not gonna be able to replicate what I'm doing.
No, you can't.
Right? You could try.
There's going to be, actually, it is a sign of, what did you say that?
Flattery.
So it's a good thing to get that.
Yeah.
And to acknowledge it. But you have to be aware, because somebody might tell you that, or somebody that's not in the club might bring it up in a negative way. So my job as your coach is to let you be aware of all the things. I am the person at the front. I will tell you, hey, that's why I'm coaching you. This weather is going to be bad. There's a storm coming. There's good weather. Set sail. Make sure you have your rudder on so you know where you're going. Where's your compass? That's my job as your coach.
Yeah.
To help you through. Because if you are aware of a situation, or you know that situation can happen, then you are prepared. Forewarned is forearmed. You are ready to go.
Yeah.
So this is the thing, and with doing that type of situation with your bike, and how far you've gone and the type of interest that has come through it, that tells everyone that you're special. And one of the things that shows how you're special, you did not start it just for yourself. You started it and got your friends involved. So you were helping others. The people have told you how good you are. And you tried to kill it, but you couldn't kill it. So therefore, that's something you have to go and work on it and do it properly.
Yeah.
So you have to really, this is February. You have to really be working on this all your free time. It's 7 days a week. I know, I have been an entrepreneur for years. So it's 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And it always matter. But one of the suggestions I will make for you, and it's a suggestion, is to have a defined time during every day to do something for it. So you work. So when you come home after supper, can you devote an hour? Can you devote half an hour talking to all the other people that are part of your team to bring this up? And you have to know, what were we discussing today? Today is marketing. Tomorrow is something else. I don't know what it takes tomorrow. You have to also try to see, to make your club unique. You might have to go to a bike shop and see if you can get a discount. Anybody coming in bringing this card or bringing your emblem or something. So you have to make it unique in finding the ways. I can give you tips, but I don't do that. So I don't know biking. I bike, but I don't know enough about it to know that.
Yeah. Everything you're saying is accurate. And again, like, because of how things unfolded last summer, I was very fortunate to form some solid, like, business relationships. Is that your computer?
No, must be yours. Mine is quiet.
Oh, I don't know.
It doesn't matter. It must be quiet.
Yeah. Anyway, I was very fortunate to make some solid connections and build some good relationships, right? With restaurants and just other businesses and some bike brands and things of that nature, right? So now it's just a matter of they know what I bring to the table. It's just a matter of whether or not they want to, like, collaborate with me in some way, shape, or form. And I've already had conversations about that type of stuff. So, like, yeah, to like what you said, solidifying it and just putting it on paper in some way to say, hey, like, this is a real thing, so that when we get to May, June, we're not twiddling our thumbs. It's already established, you know?
Well, you know what? From what I gather with what we talked about earlier in the year and where you are, you have a plan.
Yeah.
And you have a team, and you have a supportive team.
Yeah.
And you know where you're going, and the first thing you know, you believe that you are capable and you're very good at what you do. Like you said, you attract the best, and you have to have faith and belief in that.
Not to cut you off.
You attract the best.
That's one thing that I intermittently, like, struggle with.
Well, you can't. That is where you need to look at yourself in the mirror, and you need to be. Morgan Freeman taught me something, and he started to me by listening to him one day, and he said, somebody asked him, "Do you look at yourself after you've made a movie?" And he said, "Yes, I must. This is the way I know how to improve my next movie." Yeah. So you have to look. You have to sit. The thing about being an entrepreneur, a lot of times your energy comes from you. Nobody can give it to you. Nobody can bring the emotion towards this business to you. They won't even understand your vision in some cases. Yeah. So you are the one that has to wake yourself up and demand that of you. So you might have to look at this live again, and you might have to share it, and you might have to go and look at yourself in the mirror. And it's hard. It's not an easy thing to do, to say, I am the best, or I'm very good at what I do, or I look good. Since I've been riding, I feel pumped. I am elevated. I'm accelerated. I'm inflated. I am ready to take this on. I know I can. I believe. I have faith. Yeah. You know, that I can do, and I can do this, and I can do this really well. No one can give you that energy. Nobody can put it in you but you. Right. So you have to realize what you're doing is fabulous. You're serving other human beings.
That I know.
You know, so because of that, you have to understand they're counting on you. You cannot have any doubts about going back and looking at yourself and saying, yes, I did it. And it's going to be difficult. Sometimes a little of something that might help you is quiet and stillness. Meditate a little bit. And just to get yourself there so that you start accepting the amazing you. That is what you have to do. Meditate on you. Meditate, do some deep breathing, anything to calm you down to realize, okay, this is blowing up. I need to make sure I am ready for the ride. You know, so I think you're great with what you're doing, and I know you will continue. And we have to hash it out. So you have some things to do.
Yeah, for sure.
I
think one of the problems that I have is like, I'll look at the big picture, you know what I'm saying? So I'll be like, oh, I need to have this shirt, I need to have this, that. I look at all these things that I have to do, right?
But you see, you can do that if you write them down.
Well, yeah, they are written down,
but
right?
You have to, but you cannot look like people ask me, how come I can write? I don't see a picture. I see a word, just one word. And from that word, I will take it. So you have one thing. Choose the one thing and work with that one thing. I don't see a picture. I see a word. And from the word, I create a picture that somebody else can see that word through that picture.
Right.
So, as a writer, that's what I do. So as you're doing this as an entrepreneur, you're going to be bombarded with all these thoughts because it's open. The seal has been broken and everything is open to come out. So you have to spend the time and try to just take one part of the picture, not all of the picture. And where did you go? So you cannot take the whole picture. It will overwhelm you. So try to break it down to just one small part of the picture at a time. That too is difficult to do because you're very thirsty for doing it right. So you're going to want to gobble up more. You know, you're going to eat up more than you can chew. You'll end up you can't do it your way. You have to do it the right way.
Yeah.
So you have to take small bites. And if you get to see this, then you move on. They asked Einstein once, how is he able to complete something and get it through? He said, while everybody else is doing 101 things, I am only concentrating on that one thing. So when you get overwhelmed, look at the situation of the big picture and choose from the big picture the pieces you can put together. And that's what you have to do. But you need, your best friend is a pen and paper. Your absolutely best friend is a pen and paper. And it doesn't matter how many times you write the same thing down, then it becomes part of your psyche. It stays in your mind. You cannot forget it. You'll never forget it. And you will know what you have to do. But you must, if you keep it in your head, you will lose touch. So you have to keep it in your mind, on paper. Move it to paper and take it from there. You have to understand, a journey of 1,000 steps starts with only one.
Yeah.
You cannot take 100. Look at your car. When you turn on the headlight, you can only see 100 yards. You have to go to this first 100 yards to see the next 100 yards. So this is what you have to do. So you have to calm. You need to calm down mentally and empty your brain. And maybe you have to empty that brain of yours every night on paper.
Yeah.
And what becomes, so you do it two ways. You write everything that is in your head. You write, and you have a highlighter. And what that really resonates with you, on that you feel really strongly about, you highlight it, so that you can come back to it. Because of the highlighting, you will see and say, why did I highlight that? So if you need to highlight an entire page, then you do just that. But you have to write. You have a pen and a highlighter. You do them both at the same time. And that you also do with the books you're reading.
Yeah, I mark up my books now.
You have to mark them.
Yeah, before I was all like, oh, it's a book, I can't, like, no, now, like, the book that I'm reading right now, like, any line or a paragraph or a stanza that, like, resonates with me, like, I scratch under it.
Good. Well, use a highlighter so you can actually see it. Invest in one. It's really worth the price.
Yeah.
So anything else you'd like to discuss tonight?
When you talk about like writing shit down, right?
I didn't say shit.
Sorry.
You guys look here, you know, accustomed to you guys doing that to me, but I'm coming right back at you. You don't say, you can say shit if you want, I don't care. I will give it right back to you. I don't give a damn or a rat's ass. So there you go.
All right.
So I can take it. I can take it. I have 6 brothers, so I have good wisdom that, and I survived.
All right.
Yeah.
When you talk about writing stuff down, right?
Yes.
And you said like to do it at night before I go to bed.
Yeah, you can do them twice, but most people have no time in the morning.
Okay, so here's a challenge that I feel with that, because when I go to bed, like I'm done. Like I'm going to bed because I'm tired. Like my day is over. But in the morning, like when I get up at 5 in the morning,
yeah,
my brain is the sharpest. Like,
but it's for everybody.
Yeah.
It's for everybody that gets up at 5 in the morning. The energy of the world is still open.
Yeah.
So the vortex or whatever they call it, that's tiny time between 3 and 6. That thing is open, and that is the time you're going to touch. You're going to really touch it. So if that right in the morning, I didn't mean to write at night but rather than sit and watch TV, I wanted to do something else. So right in the morning, that is between 3 and 6. That's why 5 o'clock is a perfect time to get up. 4:30, 4 o'clock. You open up that thing, that hole that is out there. The energy of the world hasn't been shaken up. The energy of the world hasn't been driven. Trucks are not going by. The world is not spinning. Things are not happening. The phone is not ringing. You just leave your phone. You leave your laptop. You leave the email, and you concentrate on you. So that's when you have to do it. Yeah. So if you are blessed with that gift, then use the gift.
Yeah, because some of the best ideas that I've had, like in terms of like the things that I want to do, like in the future with this thing, are ideas that I got, again, between like 5 and 7 a.m. Either like first thing when I wake up and I'm doing my thing, or even when I leave the house at 6, I'm driving to work and it's like dark outside and I'm no music on, and I'm just like.
Well, you record that. You get your recorder going and you start recording as you're driving. You talk to yourself. Recording it is like a conversation with stuff.
Record myself talking to myself?
Of course. You just say it out loud. That's where your ideas slip in that little minute, in that second, in the moment. Life is in the moment, always in the moment. So that is when you do this. And that's what you have to do.
Record myself talking to myself.
Well, who else is in the car with you? So don't go there. I'm going to get nasty now, right? I'm going to get hard. So don't go there because you're going to get it. You are in the car, your thoughts are raging, you have a phone, you have a recording device on the phone. What's your problem? What is your hindrance? Tell me. There's nobody else in the car to hear you talk madness, so you deliver madness to self. Then you can play it back and hear what you're thinking. And you will find in those moments there's an idea you needed to have.
Honest answer?
I don't care what's your honest answer. I'm telling you what you must do to succeed.
Yeah.
My job is not to care about your honest answer. My job is to make you do what you have to do to succeed.
Wow, damn.
No, well done. You're alone in this car at 6 in the morning. It's dark out. You're going to work. And if there was a girl you're going to meet at 6 in the morning, you'd be alert. You'd be hugging and claw. What's your point? You're talking to me. You know I'm not afraid to go there, so don't push me there. Just chill.
I'm chilling.
I'm alone in this car. You record your voice. You play it over. You listen to it. You get an aha moment that you missed when you were saying it out loud. And that aha moment is your key to success. Come on, man.
I'll try it.
Like, you will try.
I'll tell you though, like some of the best ideas.
Well, don't tell me. Show me.
What?
Show me. Do them. Write them down.
Oh no,
Record
they're
them.
being executed. I'm just letting you know that some of my best ideas that I've had have come during that window of time. And
you know it's a window. It's
yeah,
actually a window of time.
I know that much. I know that much. I know because once I get to work and then I have my responsibilities there, like I don't have much bandwidth to work on my own stuff. You know what I'm saying?
No, but you're not supposed to. They're paying you to
Well,
do
yeah,
that.
exactly. So from that morning, from when I wake up at 5 to when I get to work around 7 or 7:30, a lot of the ideas that I've generated from that time are things that people are going to see in the summer.
Well, great, and that is what you're supposed to do. But if you have these ideas and you're talking and you're hearing them and you repeat them into and you say, you know what, let me record what I'm thinking. And you might find, well, I knew we were going to do this thing in green and yellow and black or whatever. And a thought will come, why don't you do purple? You have women now. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And you might forget that. And a woman might not want to wear all black because you have women in the top. They might want something purple and black. Where are you going with this? You have to choose. You have to put yourself in that position to succeed. And when you choose to succeed, you have no choice.
Yeah.
You will trip. You will fall if you don't continue towards that. And you won't like it. So where did you go?
I was just taking notes on what you said.
You're taking notes on what I said. Well, you have a lot to do tonight, so I am going to maybe leave you. You must be exhausted.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
You're good, so that's good. But I am happy we had that coaching session, and I'm looking forward to another one soon. We should have another one in 3 weeks.
On live?
Well, it doesn't matter. When we coach is 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and then I hear about it from somebody.
Yeah.
So.
Are you in a rush?
I want to do it, but this one I wanted to do it on live because there's a lot of people who are listening who are maybe in the same situation as you, and it's overwhelming them, it's choking them, and they're not as vocal as me. Like if you know me, something doesn't go right for me, I scream at it and I move it out of my way. You know what I mean? So I don't know how to stop, and I don't give up. So I don't understand the idea of stopping or giving up when you have something to do. So because of that,
I think that ties into like the whole like imposter syndrome thing. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like you don't really like I've been very open with that with my circle. Like I suffer from that sometimes where like I don't really like perceive myself the way that like these people are looking at me. Like people come to me and be like, oh, you're this, or da, da, da. And I'm like, are you sure? Like, because I'm still grasping like what this reality is.
You don't say you are sure because you are. You say thank you very much.
Well,
I am glad. I'm happy that you see that in me. Thank you. It's a compliment.
Yeah.
You have to let them know it's a compliment. You accept it. You tell them I am humbled by what you're saying. Thank you very much.
Yeah. No, they get the thank you for sure, and I acknowledge it. But like in my mind, I'm saying right. In my mind, like I
don't have a tool to turn your mind upside down. If I did, I would get in there and fix it. But what I can tell you, you need to practice accepting what you've done and accepting who you are and accept that you have a journey ahead of you. And behind you, you have a tail. My grandmother said to my mother once, the tail at the back is much longer than the tail at the front. So there's a lot of people behind you waiting for you to lead the way. You cannot stop. She said it in French, la tête derrière, puis l'on passe la tête devant. So you see what I mean? So you have to work on that.
So
that's something you need to take time, and maybe we can work on it a little bit. Accept where you are and what you're doing. It's hard for a lot of people, but with practice you can get there. I think part of it is because you didn't expect this.
No, that's exactly it. Like I didn't expect
the explosion.
What happened to occur.
Yes.
And it happened so fast. Mm-hmm. And the growth was so exponential. Mm-hmm. And now it's like where a typical person might have to, they'll start something like this, and then it might take like a couple years to get like the following that I have, or the belief behind me and stuff like that. Like it'll take a long time. Like I achieved so much in like you know, a 4-month window.
Yes, you did. But there is a purpose for that. If you can do that in 4 months, can you imagine what you can do in 4 years for others?
See, that's where my brain is like looking at it from that lens now.
So that is fine, but you cannot go there yet.
No.
You have to just take the moment as they come.
Yeah. I think that's been the biggest challenge for me personally, was that everything that happened last year, like to a certain extent, still doesn't feel real.
Well, no, when you get, like I said, when God has set his arrow on you, it's never real. Because God is showing you what he can do. You didn't expect that. You didn't start the journey looking for that. And your creator, your God, or whoever it is, decided, this is what I want from you. And are you going to let that down? You can't. Because no, you have, when you're on a bike ride for 100 people, I mean, come on. And you know, so you have to make sure that you do that, because you cannot turn your back. Somebody said to me once that when you go to heaven, you're a judge. And I said, no, I don't believe you're a judge. If that God is as good as you are telling me, because she's more Christian-like than I am, then I don't believe he's going to punish you. I believe he's going to ask you, I gave you these chances. I gave you these opportunities were before you. How come you didn't take them? Why? So you cannot shy away from those type of responsibilities when they come. If you didn't have the mustard to do it, you wouldn't have gotten the opportunity, and you have to step in. So look at it, and I know what you're saying. I'm just trying to try to teach you to accept it.
Yeah.
And just tear down a bit at a time. You will look back. That is why when I coach you guys, I say, write the date. So 1 year later, when you look at it, you go, holy shit, man, that's where I was. And look at where I am today.
You know what's funny? When you mentioned that, right? I have like exercise logs. Like when I told myself, oh, I want to get strong, I want to be able to lift, you know, bench press 300 pounds or whatever, right? And I would document every week, like, this is how much I lifted, how many times, da 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 da. And then when I get to like my goal, and then I look back at like 2011, I'm like, oh my God, I was so weak. Like, look what I was starting with, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then look where I am now. So like the concept of the journaling, like, I understand it. I'm a very like analytical person. So, and I'm very data driven, right? So if it's numbers and stuff, and it's like I gotta write stuff down like that and track it like increments over week over week over week, I can do that no problem. But when it comes to applying that same method to like ideas that aren't necessarily like quantifiable, it's hard.
Well, but you still have to have them, because your ideas is what gives you the numbers. The numbers gives you the results. So you need to have your ideas, and you need to have your numbers, because so your numbers is easy. So you know you would always do that. Your ideas, you have to start recording your thoughts. When you're driving, you cannot stop and pick up your phone and write a note, but you can say it into the phone.
Yeah.
So that I think is difficult for you, because you're not accustomed of hearing your voice.
I'm used to hearing my voice. Like, you know, I used to do music, and then even just
but that is different though. That is entirely different, because it's something that has supplanted you higher than where you wanted to be, or where you thought you were.
Fair, well said.
So you just have to keep doing those things. You have a lot of homework. I will remember it, because I'm going to listen to the tape.
You recording this?
Just record it.
Oh my God.
So I will remember. So you have to, I'm sending you a copy of it so that you can remember. Because when we meet again, we will talk, we will go over it, and I know we'll have to negotiate.
Yeah.
So you have to do this stuff. I am not asking you, I'm telling you, if you want to taste that fruit, that nectar, you have of success, you have to put in the work.
Yeah.
Success doesn't come. And of course, the bumps in the road, you know about that. So we're not going to go there. But I think it was a great session tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
I love your energy, and I love what you did with it.
Thank you.
So I think
thank you for me.
You're welcome. You're always welcome. I am here to serve. I've always been of service to others, and I love it. I do it because I enjoy it, even when people cry.
You've seen me cry too much times in my lifetime, so
I just thought I would throw that in just for
you couldn't resist, huh?
Spice, huh?
You couldn't resist a little mention of tears.
You were just at the right time to get you, so I love that. But anyway, have a wonderful evening, and thank you very much. And everybody who came to see us tonight, thank you so much. I am ever so grateful.
Yeah, follow Tessa, please.
Huh?
I'm telling all my people to follow you.
Yeah, well, tell them to follow us so they can learn some more. And another thing, don't forget, look out for that book, or maybe I'll just get it for your birthday.
I wrote it down here, Born to Serve.
Yeah, I want you to read that book. I will help you with it. Thank you. I'm so grateful, everybody, for coming in and joining us tonight. It was, I hope somebody who's starting off on their business was able to pick up some tips and to see how passionate Chris is about what he's doing. Yet, when he started the journey, it was not meant to explode as it did. So it's really, I'm really happy with the results for tonight. And thank you, everybody. So
thank you, Tessa.
You're welcome. Bye, guys.
I'm going to stay on live for a bit. I think some of my friends want to politic with me.
Okay, but you can go on live by yourself.
I think if you end it, I'll stay on live. But if I'm not, I'll go back on live.
All right. Bye. Bye.